Hello and a huge welcome. In this session, I'm really excited to talk about how your money frequency controls you because we have a certain amount of money frequency that is reflected in our bank account every single month. That is the amount of money that we attract, we are programmed to attract, but it controls us in a very subtle way because a lot of times when people are told you're repelling money or subconsciously you're repelling money and their answer is I'm not repelling money, I really would love more money, I don't understand how am I repelling money. And this can be very annoying when we don't understand how actually your money frequency is controlling you. And when you understand that, you can actually observe that pattern and realize, oh, this is how is this showing up. So I can constantly, work on that, and I can shift that very, very fast. And also, I'll share with you how to set a new money frequency and then embody it fully. And when you do that, you can always look at these patterns and identify if your money frequency is controlling you through them. There are 10 of them, and I'm going to take you through them. And I made my notes to make sure that I'm not missing anything. First thing where your money frequency controls you is when you're thinking about, I would love to have this much money in my life. I would love to manifest this amount of money, right? The first question most people ask is how I'm going to do it. What am I supposed to do? Tell me what to do, right? This is a very normal response and this is absolutely fine. But then what happens is that we start to get in that strategy overload. There's a lot of debate. Like, oh, it's all about strategy. Some people say you don't need strategy at all. Strategy is great, but anything that works is called a strategy. Nobody could have said anything strategy if it hasn't worked multiple times, not even once, multiple times. The definition of strategy on its own is that it works, right? Any strategy that you try, if it's proven, if other people have done it, that's why they're calling it strategy, is going to work. But what we tend to do is we start with a strategy and then we keep learning the strategy. We keep collecting all the templates, tools, tactics, and I know everything. I know how to do it. I'm doing it, right? I've done it all. Tried everything. And then the natural instinct is let's find the next strategy. And then we do the same thing with the next strategy. And we do the same thing with the next strategy. So what I found myself doing before stumbling onto identity piece, because what really happening deep down is that your identity hasn't caught up with what you're manifesting and you're using strategy to manifest that, but your identity is not allowing you. So it's like you're fighting against your own program, right? Because your identity is your money temperature, that is reflecting the amount of money you earn. And that shows up in your bank account. But when you are in the strategy, like constantly looking for strategy, you haven't really fully caught up, right? Your identity hasn't caught up. So you are trying to with the strategy, but actually the version of you is not that version. So say if you want to manifest 50K months, the version is not 50K months, but you're trying the strategy, right? What I experienced is when I wanted to manifest more money, quantum leap in my career in the beginning, I kept on trying strategies to the point that I tried 8 different strategies. And anytime when I tried the first strategy, it didn't work, absolutely, because of my identity. I went on the next one. When I went on the third one, I subconsciously just assumed that it's not going to work, right? And then when I was working on the third one, I would think about the fourth one. And I would actually be looking for the fourth one with the assumption the third one is not going to work. And then I would do the fourth one with the assumption that it's not going to work. So let's find the fifth one. And I found myself strategy looping like 8 times, right? And it didn't work. And that's when I stumbled on this identity piece and everything worked and everything clicked. And I manifested the vision and the number on my goal card. And I was like, oh my God, it's all identity. Any strategy will work when you activate a version of you who doesn't just hope it works from the lower identity, but who actually, the identity that's not a match, but who actually knows it's already done. So actually the version of you who's already that version who has done it. Now, the gap here is that you haven't done it in the physical. So how do we activate that version, right? How do we embody that version when you haven't done it, right? So that comes to the second point, how it shows up. it's like you haven't shifted your identity and your strategy hoping, but then no matter how hard you try, you are subconsciously seeing yourself somebody who is still at that income level, and instead of a person at a greater income level. If we take the example of 50K, as someone who is already at 50K, you don't see yourself that way. Trying. Now, when it comes to identity and self concept, like when I do one-to-one calls or when I talk to somebody, right? The things that really obviously tell me about your identity, which I want to share with you because this will really help you see your patterns, is anything they say. Literally, you can start talking and I know your identity fully, right? So, first of all, your identity could be I'm trying to get there. I'm just starting out. Earning money is so hard. I I have to try harder. I haven't got this. I need more of that. One pattern that I found with the old identity is that we are constantly telling ourselves, I need this before I can do that. So I need more followers. I need to be better at marketing. I need to be good at this. We are actually declaring that I don't want it right now. I don't have enough followers like that person, so I cannot do it. I need to change this. I need my kids to grow up, or I need my circumstance to change. So all these things are a part of your identity where you're actually trying to get there, but you're not a match. So match is when you actually ask yourself that what would be that version of me who has already done it, right? So what part of me is not aligned to that version, and you now actually start to uncover, oh, I think this about me, I think this. And in Wealth Fountain, in the actual program, in the breakthrough method, we have all the questions and all the meditation and all the things to actually uncover your old outdated identity, and then you can shift it really fast using the vision into being scripting method. But it is really important to understand that if you're just strategy hopping and your identity hasn't shifted, no strategy will work. And I'm telling you, after trying 8 different proven strategies, which each of them generated millions for people. So I have I've been there. Also, the other thing that the way our money temperature or our money set point controls us is constantly this feeling, I need to be doing more. I need to be doing more. I'm not doing more. Although you will have a long to-do list, which you do every day, and you are potentially doing a lot, but there's this constant feeling, I should be doing more. Like you're not able to take a day off. You're not able to put your mind at rest. Like, oh my God, I need to do this. We think that in order to make up for the being gap subconsciously, we are doing more, right? So I cannot trust that my actions, the aligned actions, are enough. I'm going to do more. I will give you a very powerful example here. Let's say that you have a coaching business, and I'm giving an example, you can use it for anything. I'm just giving an example. And you take on that identity that I am someone who magnetizes people. Whenever I put my offers out there, people sign up like they're selling like hotcakes, right? Now, when you take on that identity, right, you will operate from that energy. You will, and I'll share with you how to take on that identity. Don't worry about that. But you will operate from that energy. And when you actually put your posts out there, you wouldn't need to try a lot of tactics. You wouldn't need to post 10 times. You wouldn't need to have a very complicated sales process. You wouldn't need to do discovery calls. You wouldn't need to jump the hoops to attract clients. All of a sudden, this feeling that I'm not doing more is going to go because you're like, I'm a match. It comes easy because this is who I am. I magnetize, right? The things. This feeling of I'm not doing enough is going to go. Now, the gap of being is actually managed by doing here, right? So you're doing more because there's a gap in the being. And when you actually work on that gap between being and doing, what you realize is that doing becomes less because you be more, right? So when you be more, if you think of Taylor Swift example, right? Like one night, she made hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars through her concert. So it's possible that you can make hundreds of millions of dollars in one night, just few hours, right? Or maybe 6 hours. I don't know how long her concert was. So it's not that there are people who are operating with a different consciousness. There are people who monetize everything, who choose to see that earning money is so easy, right? And then what happens is that they start to get intuitions, they start to get the ideas, which takes me to the fourth point, that these where your money temperature controls you, we have been told to spiritualize success, that to spiritualize struggle. That means that we are told, we have been conditioned so strongly on that, that if you want to be successful, you have to work hard. If you want to grow, it has to be hard. That slow equals sustainable, right? And but the alignment doesn't come after the hard work, it comes before. So you don't have to work hard to get the alignment, right? You do it before so that it's easy, it's natural, it's as easy as breathing. So as you get to work on your identity and you align yourself, you attract an autopilot and you act on autopilot. So it becomes as natural as breathing. So then what happens is habitually you are programmed to attract a certain amount of money, right? And habitually you're just attracting that amount of money. So it's your habit now, right? Even if you have problems in your life or even something's going wrong, you will just habitually do that. Like, we have habits to do things. Some people wake up at certain time and they always wake up no matter what because they're habitually programmed. So earning money is your habit. The amount of money that you earn right now is your habit. And when we spiritualize success, what we do is we don't trust our instincts. We don't trust those ideas on a higher level frequency. We think, oh, it can't be that easy. We don't trust ourselves. We don't receive the intuition and the guidance. So actually, when you focus on your being and when you realize it gets to come easy, you are now attuned to the ideas because those ideas are always coming. It's like, the phone line is always on, but we are not plugged in. We're just disconnected. Okay. The other thing is, this is really huge, the survival frequency. And this is a very big one, that we tend to not feel safe even in abundance. So let's say you have a big cash month, right? You just had the biggest cash month of your life. And when I had my biggest cash month, I had the exact same pattern when I learned. So when I had my biggest cash month in my life, the first question after celebrating for 5 minutes I had was, how is it going to happen again? How will I do it again? How will I make sure that it happens again? Right? When I had that month, I was literally so worried that how will I ever do that again? Right? Then the problem with that is now it's like your old program has intervened and it is controlling your frequency and you have gone back to the old pattern. So you outperformed it for a month and then you've gone back to the old pattern. And now you are trying to control the situation because there's a gap in the being. So you're trying to control the situation of how you will do it again because you know that you're not that version subconsciously. So you're saying, how will I do it again? Because the question is not how will I do it again? The question is, this is who I am. So what I realized that when you have a big cash month or even before, you really focus on your identity. You become that, you make it a habit, and you shift your identity permanently, which I'm going to share how in the end. But the survival frequency is that you don't even feel comfortable in the overflow. Even in the overflow, you think of lack. Like even overflow and abundance doesn't let you think in abundance because of that. Okay. The other thing is emotional entanglement with money. This is also huge, right? Emotional entanglement with money is that when the money is flowing in, we are in full confidence, we are feeling good. And when it doesn't come in, you start to doubt, you start to question yourself. Okay. And you're wondering, am I good enough? What I'm doing, is it right? Is it legit? Like, am I meant to do this? Right? So we have this huge thing where money is actually this tool for our validation, right? And we are told so many times that, don't rely on money for your validation. It's not a tool for your validation. But then why do we do that? And I really went within and also like really contemplated this idea that why do we actually do that? Why do we let money define our worthiness? And what I realized was that we have this belief and identity about ourselves that I'm not worthy and I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy of receiving. And when we see the money not flowing, it just validates the identity which is actually there. So it's not the outside that is the problem. It's what's inside is reinforced by the lack in outside. So once we shift the inside, the lack in outside will not reinforce that because it doesn't exist, right? It's not about saying, when my circumstance will change, I'll change. It's more about when you change within, your circumstance will change because right now they're showing you that what's in the inside, the outside is reinforcing. Because let's say when you are a parent, right? You and somebody says to you, no, you're not a parent. You don't agree with that. You're like, no, I'm a parent, I know. So nobody outside can change that, right? Because that's who you are. Similarly, when it's nighttime and it doesn't look like it's ever gonna be morning because all you see is dark, there is no sign of sun, there's no sign of light, you still believe it's gonna be morning next day because you know. So outside can never dictate until then there's a gap in the knowing. And this is really, really important. So when you're emotionally entangled with money, that means it's the reason it's connected to your worthiness is because it's not solid. And we want to go within and change that so that we are not manipulated by the outside and then the outside shifts. Also, the other thing is the frequency. So when you are controlled by only temperature, your money frequency, you're operating on that frequency even when you don't realize. So maybe you wake up and you do your meditation and you see that amount of money in your bank account and you feel it, but then all the day you are operating on the lower frequency until you consciously try to do that. And the way we do it, which is really powerful, is in the visioning to being method in the Wealth Fountain, where you are now creating a version of you after releasing, the version who wasn't a match. You recreate a version of you and you activate that who is a match for that. So when you said what part of me doesn't align, and after you release it, you actually create a version who is a match for the amount of money that you absolutely desire. And this is how you are actually now using that version to activate, and we use tracker to activate that version. It's available in the Wealth Fountain, but it's really important to listen to your script. It's really important to shift your identity, to put the identity down which is not a match, and take on new identity, and be very open with this whole embodiment process, because this is really powerful. And this is where you are not trying to feel the feeling, you already are it. Like, you don't try to feel like a parent, you already are a parent. Okay? The other thing is, which is quite connected to using outdated manifestation method. So we are told to journal, visualize, feel the feeling. But the point is, when you are not being, those methods are just superficial. They are at a surface level method. That's like 2% of the actual thing, of the actual iceberg. Because it's like saying, I'm not abundant when I'm trying to feel like one. I'm not good enough, but I'm trying to feel like one. I'm affirming because I don't have that. So when I have that, I'll affirm it. So I ask this question often, like, do we affirm I'm a mother, I'm a mother, I'm a mother? And if we don't, why don't we do that? And we don't do that because we know we are one. So identity embodiment, identity level embodiment is about realizing that you already are. And you forgot that. So it's remembering. We are not trying to force it. We're not trying to fake it till we make it. We are faking it now. Okay? The other, which is really, really important, where money temperature controls us, is really important. Waiting to be ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm waiting for the right circumstance. I'm waiting for my kids to grow up. I'm waiting when I'm more clear. I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for my circumstance to change. I'm waiting for the economy to get better. But this cannot be possible. And let me share with you quickly why the waiting game is a trap. So I'm going to share with you my whiteboard and I'll show you why the waiting game is a trap. And it will always keep you where you are if you're waiting. So these are the lines. So everything in this universe is vibrating, every single thing, including you and I. Okay? And if we take these lines as a frequency, because they're vibrating with a frequency, everything that vibrates has a frequency with which it's vibrating. So if we take these lines and imagine this is you, this is where you would love to be, your vision. And if you're in this frequency and you're saying, you know what, I'm waiting to go all in, I'm waiting, right, to be ready, I'm not ready. In this frequency, you can never be ready. The circumstance can never change. Things can never change. Nothing can happen because it's this frequency which is based on your current reality, and you'll create more of the same and you'll attract more of the same, and you will never be ready. But on this frequency, right? On this frequency is what you desire is where the whole world meets you, is where the plots, plans, circumstances, things, everything you start attracting. It's where the attraction of your vision is happening. So if you wait for the circumstance to change, you have to first go on the right frequency to attract the right circumstances, because they're on this frequency, they're not here. So waiting to be ready is a trap, okay? And science and energetics and frequencies doesn't support that, right? And the last and very important point is you haven't really met who you are. This is where the money temperature is controlling you. So there's a very famous saying, and I don't know by whom, that it's not what we think we are that is the problem, it's what we think we are not. So when you realize who you really are, when you realize that you have got the control over universal forces, you are the center of divine operation, you hold the vision and you have the power to attract everything to you, and your truth is that whatever you hold in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And you are constantly saying, I need this and I need that, and all of that, that is actually stopping you. So it's about starting to be in the rooms where people who believe in themselves more sit. It started to hang around places where everybody believes in themselves, because you get to do that. It's starting to know yourself better. Starting to ask yourself, the most magical question on this planet is, who am I? Okay? And when you start to know yourself, as you activate that identity, everything changes, because you become who you really are. So I want to quickly share the method of activating a new money frequency. The method is, you first set the frequency, you write your goal card. I'm so happy and grateful now that I manifested X amount of money in exchange for what you're going to do. If you don't know yet, you can still, say, in exchange for discovering my passion and living on my purpose, and you are now sending the ask in the universe and you'll get the answers. But the key, and I've also got the in bonuses, how to discover your passion, you can use that. But and how to uncover, how to find your dream career, that's also there in case you need it. But when you write that, now what you want to do is you want to start normalizing that money. The only reason you don't have that money in your reality yet, because it seems big, it seems like, oh my god, like it's on pedestal basically. So what we do is, we ask ourselves, how would my life change when I have that money? Where I would be living, what car I would be driving, what I'll be doing, how I'll be living, where I'll be shopping, how will I be spending that money? And you start to normalize that. You start to feel that. You start to feel as if having that much money is normal. Like, you don't think, okay, if I'll have that much money, what will happen with the rest of the money? How will we do it? The more you create the separation between what you desire and where you are, the more it's going to delay. So what you want to do is you want to normalize that, like, as if, because when that money actually shows up, you're like, you know what, for me nothing changes, because I was living on that frequency for a lot, like for a while. Like, I don't, what has changed? I don't feel any different anymore, right? That is when you start to normalize every aspect of your life. So if you drive a different car, see yourself driving a different car. When you're driving your current car, feel as if you're driving that car. See yourself shopping in those places. See yourself living that life already. Normalize that. Constantly normalize that. The only reason people have certain amount of money and their temperature is set, money temperature is set, is because this has been normalized for them over the period of time. Some people might grow through some growth and change their temperature, but with most of the people, the money that they saw in their childhood, they're still having the same experience with money, because that's the temperature it's set at, and we can change that. Okay, you start to normalize that amount of money and it completely changes. And as you see these patterns, you become aware, oh, it's my money temperature, I can shift that. So I'm going to repeat them quickly. Strategy hopping, right? Old identity, chasing doing versus being, spiritualized the success, the struggle, like success equals struggle, which is not. Addicted to survival frequency, that means abundance lead to lack. They're wondering how they're going to do it again. Emotionally entangled with money, like tie all their worth to money. Operating from a lower frequency, so wanting $1 million business but operating from a very lower frequency, right? thinking from that place, operating from that place. And when I say thinking and operating from that place, what I really mean is that you start to see yourself with that. And you say, okay, how I'm going to show up in my business, how I'm going to say the things, how I'm going to think, how I'm going to work on my skills, how I'm going to work on my energy, my confidence, right? This is where it changes everything. So I want to give you a quick example. When we started our corporate consulting business, which wasn't very long, but because of the quantum leap, it seems like very long, but it's not. In the beginning, I didn't know anything. I didn't know any like technical stuff and all of that. Now it's a big quantum leap and it's incredible. But my confidence was as if I know everything because I programmed myself into believing that I'm already very successful consultant. So somebody would talk to me and think I'm the expert because I saw myself as the expert. And very quickly I jumped and become an expert because I saw myself like that. So there is no such thing as time. You just decide, you choose your energy, and the whole world meets you there in seconds, okay? And then using the outdated manifestation method, waiting to be ready, and haven't met who they really are.